Hello, Daljit. Why is this game so confusing? Why is the why when I said mentality, the team mentality and the individual mentality is different? Does this mean the player has a different brain? I don't understand this game. Please explain to me why this is so confusing.
It's been a long time since we've heard from Joey. Yes, Joey, players definitely have different brains, and I have to agree, individual mentality is too confusing. In fact, it's so confusing that I think we should completely remove it from the game. My name is Daljit. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. This is the place where I do content on the game Football Manager. You'll find tips, tricks, hacks, guides, playthroughs, and you will also find me streaming 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on Daljit's Moments. That's another channel. On Tuesdays and Saturdays, you will find me streaming on Twitch, where I do public drafts. You're more than welcome to join me, play a couple of matches, and have a good laugh. The game of Football Manager has certainly evolved over the last couple of years, but there's one thing in the game that has confused more people than I know, and that's the concept of individual mentality. Now, when you go into the game for the first time, you will find yourself being asked to choose the level of mentality for your team. Once you set the level of mentality, when you go down to the play instructions, you also see another little indicator there that tells you what the individual mentality of that player is. This is where things can start to get confusing, because while the team can be on one mentality, individual roles can have different mentalities. About 10 years ago in the game of Football Manager, we had something called Creative Freedom. Creative Freedom was actually a slider that we set for our team. And then we had an individual Creative Freedom slider that we could choose for certain players. And this affected the levels of creative freedom different players had. It was a very necessary thing to do back in the day because there were no roles to speak of. We didn't have carreros, we didn't have false nines. So individual mentality and things like creative freedom allowed us to customize certain roles so they could behave in certain ways. But the game has changed. Today in the game, we have different kinds of roles. Each of these roles has their own mentality, creative freedom, whether or not they press or not. All these roles have been hard-coded to behave in certain ways. We do know that different roles have different levels of creative freedom, but to the new player who's never even heard of the term, it doesn't make any difference, because when he goes into the game, he just sees a role, he picks the role, and he plays with the role, which is exactly how we should be playing the game. I, for one, don't even care about the individual mentalities anymore, because there is much more that goes into the way a role plays than its individual mentality. We have duties, we have their play instructions, we have the traits, we have their attributes. Then we have team instructions like defensive line of engagement, pressing intensity, attacking and defensive width. All these serve to set up the style of play that we want to employ when we design a tactic. Having individual mentality on the play instructions page is so confusing, because you might end up with a role that has got a support duty, but he's got a very high attacking mentality. But during the defensive transition, this role does actually come back and help your team defend. So this creates some confusion in new players. When they look at the mentality, they might think, hey, this guy is not coming back. But in reality, there's a lot more to how a role plays than just mentality. The game is fundamentally meant to be simple. Right now, we have individual mentality being displayed on play instructions, on the play instructions page. Then we have a team mentality option on the tactical creator as well. Change one, the other one might change. You choose a different role, the individual mentality can change. You change the team instructions, the individual mentality can change. It can be very confusing. At the end of the day, whether a player comes back to help your team defend or not is a function of team instructions, play attributes, play instructions. It's much more than just the individual mentality of a player. Mentality should be treated just like creative freedom. Yes, remove it totally. Bring it under the hood now. Just have a slider at the front page, call it risk. How much risk do you want your team to take? You have an option now. You want risk-free football? Lowest notch. You want risky football? Highest notch. That's it. Keep it simple. Then SI can do all the wonderful things he wants to do under the hood as far as specific mentality levels are for different roles. This gives them a lot more latitude when they want to improve the pressing system. And in order for them to improve the pressing system, to take the game to a new level, they have to take mentality off the table altogether as an option for players. In fact, over the last couple of years, SI has been trying to remove that option slowly by introducing more and more roles. I'm suggesting remove it altogether. Replace it with that risk bar on the team instructions page. And there we go. We don't have to worry about individual mentality anymore. And I don't have to worry about Joey giving me all these calls, asking me to explain what individual mentality is, because it is so painful and confusing. I beg SI right now, please remove individual mentality from the play instructions page and consider replacing team mentality with something else. I think moving forward, if we want to see this game evolve, this is going to be a necessary step that SI take. Well, let me know your thoughts on the subject of mentality and whether or not you think it should be removed from the game. Comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. You guys stay safe and healthy. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.